Hello friends, hope all are fine. Today we are going to discuss about marketing basics, part 3. The value of marketing. Other business functions will not really matter without sufficient demand for product and services so the firm can make a profit. In other words, there must be a top line for there to be a bottom line. What is top line? Top line is the revenue, bottom line is the profit. Thus, financial success often depends on marketing ability. Financial success often depends on marketing ability. Successful marketing builds demand for product and services, which in turn create job. By contributing to the bottom line, successful marketing also allows firms to more fully engage in socially responsible activities. So, the conclusion is marketing is very much important to increase companies' revenues, to increase companies' profit. Okay, and without marketing, uh, marketer won't be able to create a demand, because if marketer is not able to communicate the value of his product to the customer won't be able to take a decision to purchase your product. So the marketing is very much important for the organization to grow, to sustain. Marketing decision making. CEOs recognize that marketing builds strong brands and a loyal customer base. Intangible assets that contribute heavily to the value of firm. Intangible assets here are patents. We call them as intellectual property rights or patents. For example, if some company has developed a technology which is not there in a market earlier, so what that organization will do is they will patent that technology so that the only firm will be able to market that technology in the market, which will help the organization to become a monopoly organization, and they can strategize a scheming pricing for that technology and they can reap the benefits. Many firms, even service and non-profit, now have a chief marketing officer to put marketing on a more equal footing with other C-level executives. What is marketed? Marketers market 10 main types of entities: goods, services, events, experiences, persons, places, properties, organization, information, and ideas. So the example of goods is cars and refrigerators, right? Services, which is intangible part: hotels, healthcare, hospitality, and restaurants. Events, what are the events to be marketed? Tournaments, various performance shows, etc. Experiences, Disneyland, wow, what an experience. Persons, actors, artists, musicians. Places, tourism. Properties, real estate. Organization, there are so many organizations. Information, encyclopedia. Ideas, every offering includes a basic idea, meaning every organization who is selling a product, but for that product there is an idea behind. Who markets? Marketers and prospects. A marketer is someone who seeks a response, attention, a purchase, a vote, a donation from another party, called the prospect. So marketer seeks response from the prospects, and that prospect in turn gets converted to the customer or consumer. If two parties are seeking to sell something to each other, we call them both marketers. Marketers are skilled at stimulating demand for their products, but that's a limited view of what they do. They also seek to influence the level, timing, and composition of demand to meet the organization objectives. Okay. 8 demand states are possible. I'm sorry. There are 8 demand states possible. One is negative demand, non-existent demand, latent demand, declining demand, irregular demand, full demand, overfill demand, and unwholesome demand. Okay. So first is negative demand. Consumer dislike the product and may even pay to avoid it. For example, dental treatment. So dental treatment, people try to avoid it, and they generally use the formula prevention is better than cure. Okay. Non-existent demand. Consumers may be unaware of or uninterested in the product. Consumers may be not aware of or not interested in that product. For example, non-smart mobile phones nowadays, because this is the era of smartphones, so nobody is interested to purchase non-smart phones. Okay, so this is basically a non-existent demand. Latent demand. Consumers may share a strong need that cannot be satisfied by an existing product. Consumers may share a strong need that cannot be satisfied by an existing product. For example, evolution of smartphones or mobile phones. How come? Every time a new model of mobile phone was launched, it tackled a new need of the consumer, whether it would be sending messages, talking face to face via video call, shopping online through mobiles at one place only, and many more. So, consumers may share a strong need that cannot be satisfied by an existing product. So, every time there is a new feature coming in the market, okay, so what consumer feeling is, yes, yeah, I do not have this feature. For example, if somebody is using a phone wherein he do not have inbuilt camera, okay, even if he has a mobile, but he is not satisfied with that product because the new model has coming in the market which has inbuilt camera. Okay, so the consumer will not get satisfied with the existing product and he will try to go to next stage. What is next stage? He will purchase that mobile which has inbuilt camera. Declining demand. Consumers begin to buy the product less frequently or not at all. This majorly happens in the technical field. Okay, so how the demand gets declined? For example, we'll take the example of mobile phone only, right? So here the mobile phone which was available in first stage, which is not required in this stage. For example, there was a big mobile phone people were carrying like a pager, right? But nowadays nobody is using such a big phones. Okay, everybody has a slim phone, touch phone. There are no buttons for that phone. Okay, we'll take another example for this declining demand. Okay, which is I can say a cheap or IC. See, in the market there were ICs available earlier. Okay, but now the IC features are being changed as per the new requirement of the products, right? IC is basically a component. So because of that, that old IC is obsolete, okay, and new IC has coming in the market. Okay, and the same is applicable to another technical products. For example, if you take the example of process instrument, so for process instrument there were level switches which were used to trip the motor and other requirement of potential free contacts. But nowadays nobody is using level switches. I'm talking about the process industry, which is very big, and I'm specifically I am talking about the oil and gas industry, where uh, level switches are used as a high level alarm switch only, right? But earlier level switches were in big demand, right? So everywhere transmitters are being used, and in those transmitter there's a technology called foundation field bus HART are being used. Okay, irregular demand. Consumer purchases vary on seasonal, monthly, weekly, on or even hourly basis. So this is basically demand depends on the like season. For example, rainy season umbrella is required. Then you have very cold climate, so in that case you want woolen clothes. Okay, but these woolen clothes would not be required in summer season. Okay, so this is basically a seasonal demand. Full demand. Consumers are adequately buying all products put in the marketplace. For example, smartphones with new feature. Full demand. More consumers would like to buy the product than can be satisfied. For example, cement industry. Now Now the real estate market is booming, and everywhere there is a construction going on, not only in real estate but in infrastructure part of India. There are so many infrastructures are going on. So cement industry is the industry which is in over full demand, unwholesome demand. Consumers may be attracted to the products that have undesirable social consequences. For example, alcohol. There is no requirement to give more examples of unwholesome demand. Markets. Traditionally, a market was a physical place where buyers and sellers gathered to buy and sell the goods. Earlier days, people were used to go to the market. There were buyers, there were sellers to buy and sell the goods. This was a definition of market. Now, the definition of market has been extended if we consider internet as a platform. For example, there is e-commerce organizations who are selling product online. They have created a platform where buyers and sellers come together virtually and they can buy and sell the products. Okay. Economists describe a market as a collection of buyers and sellers who transact over a particular product or product class. Okay, so this is a simple marketing system. There is an industry, a collection of sellers. There is a market, a collection of buyers, right? So what sellers are doing, sellers are communicating the value of their product or services to the buyers. Okay, once the buyer gets attracted towards a product, or he gets convinced with the features provided by the seller in the product, he purchases those goods and services, and in exchange he gives money to the seller. Okay, in this total process, what seller do is seller studies consumer behavior. Okay, at the time of searching for a product, at the time of selecting a product, at the time of purchasing a product, at the time of using a product, at the time of disposing of that product. Okay, he studies that behavior and he modifies his product accordingly. Okay, so not only product but the process of selling a product. Okay, process of selling a product, after sales service of a product. So all these parameters are gets changed by studying a consumer behavior. Okay, key customer market. So as per this book written by Philip Kotler and Keller, there are four key customer market. One is consumer market, second is business market, third is global markets, and fourth is non-profit and government markets. Okay, so consumer market is basically a consumer business. Business market is business to business. For example, here there is an organization who is manufacturing fridge. Okay, and they have a requirement of components. For example, they want so many ICs, they want so many diodes, they want so many electrical components which are required to assemble that fridge. Okay, so some diode manufacturer sells his diode to the fridge manufacturing company. Both are businesses. So this is business to business market. Global market. Global market is a market which is which covers all the countries. So it's basically a global market. Non-profit and government market. Non-profit market is basically a non-profit organizations. Okay, government market is basically a market where sellers are selling their product to government. This is basically B2G. So these are some of the business models, okay, and which are extended nowadays because of internet era and because of boom in e-commerce industry. Okay, so these are basic business models. One is B2B, business to business. For example, truck spare manufacturer dealing with truck manufacturer. Okay, B2C, business to consumer, refrigerator manufacturer to end consumer. Consumer to business, this is basically a referral programs or paid testimonials, okay, given by customer to the business by taking money. Consumer to consumer, OLX or quicker.com, where consumers are selling their product to new consumers. P2G, business to government, online auctions, tenders. Okay, here the businesses are quoting to the government organization. For example, here we'll take example of IOCL. IOCL requires so many products to run their businesses of oil, right? So for that purpose, they generally do online auctions. They float the tenders on their website. Okay, so businesses bid for those tenders, and whoever is L1 gets a job. Okay, so this is for the day. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session.